So being a World War II obsessed kid growing up in the mid-2000s in the midst of the military surplus firearm craze was quite the trip. Lord knows I saw my pawpaw, my dad, and my uncle take home tons of insane deals on guns that I would, probably kill to own today. Things from all different types of countries, long guns, handguns, you name it, they probably had it in their possession at one point or another. What a time to be alive. Honestly, I'm kind of jealous.
Ooh, we have a special snowflake! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the I hate my own generation, it sucks pieces of shit. Like, shut the fuck up. Who cares?
But today I'm going to talk to you about my very first military surplus rifle that I was able to get my hands on when I was old enough to buy. And that, my friends, was none other than the infamous, or the famous, Mosin Nagant M9130. A lot of people might dog on the Mosin, but in spite of its shitty ergos and its loose tolerances, this rifle right here has somehow found itself on the front line of pretty much every major war from its inception in the 1890s all the way up to the modern battlefields of the mid-2020s.
Bruh.
Some of my earliest memories of the Mosin Nagant come from going to gun shows with my uncle and my dad. And we would go and see just tables and tables of 9130 long rifles and M44 carbines. Sometimes people would even be selling them by the crate load in those giant green crates. And for whatever reason, I always gravitated towards these guns because they were so damn cheap, And little me thought, if these things are this cheap whenever I get to be old enough to own one, I might as well just grow up and buy 5 of them, because why the hell not? Well, fast forward to the fall of 2017, Mosin prices had skyrocketed from a measly $200 all the way up into the $400 and $500 mark. And I was lucky enough to come across this 1942 Izhevsk Ex-PEM Sniper. What the hell is that? Well, let's get a closer look and I will be able to show you. So to the average milsurp enjoyer, this would appear to be a standard 9130 rifle. But to the true Mosin nerd, it is something a bit more special. But before I show you the things that make this rifle special, I will show you just the standard markings that appear on every World War II era Mosin Nagant. Well, at least from the Izhevsk factory. But right here, we have the crossed wheat with the hammer and sickle, the symbol of the Soviet Union. We have the production date of 1942. We have a crudely stamped wartime serial number, and finally, we have a arrow and a triangle, the Izhevsk factory marking. But what markings denote this rifle as something more than the average infantry rifle, you might ask? Well, let me show you. Next to the symbol of the Soviet Union, there are 2 stampings. Both are backward C's with the remnants of circles around them, indicators that this barrel was chosen for the creation of a sniper rifle. And if we look on the inside of the receiver, we will see 3 screw holes, one here, in the track that the bolt rides in, and there's also a 3rd hole on the inside of the barrel shank, but it is visible from the inside, but it's really dark in there and it's hard to show on camera, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But these 3 holes correspond to the side mount for a PEM sniper scope. And if we look on the other side of the receiver, we will see that those holes were filled in and ground down. And this rifle was returned to standard configuration, presumably after it lost its accuracy and was no longer worthy of being a scoped rifle. So upon doing a little bit of research for this video, I discovered that in the year 1940, Russia had stopped its Mosin sniper rifle program, and they were no longer producing any pattern of Mosin sniper rifle. But by 1942, the losses they had suffered during Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union by Nazi Germany, they had decided they needed more sniper rifles, as they had lost so many to combat. So they looked to the only remaining Mosin factory, or the only factory producing Mosins at the time, Izhevsk, and asked for more. So Izhevsk decided to start reproducing the last pattern of sniper they had made before production had ceased, and that was the PEM. So if my research is correct, this rifle right here is one of the very first PEM snipers to re-enter the battlefield after Izhevsk re-began production in 1942. And after being a fan of movies like Enemy at the Gates about the famous Stalingrad sniper Vasily Zaitsev, who used a PEM, and playing games growing up like Call of Duty Finest Hour and Call of Duty World at War that prominently feature Soviet snipers, I just think that it's insane that I ended up with a Ex-PEM Sniper as my first Mosin. And not only is it an ex-sniper rifle, but it has an absolutely gorgeous stock. The wood grain and the tiger striping that run down the length of the entire stock is just, you know, it makes it a beautiful piece. Certainly one of the most beautiful Mosin stocks that I've ever seen on any 9130 ever. Just a great rifle. Love it. Love the history. Love the look. Happy to have it, truly. So, hopefully you enjoyed my little yammering rant about my Ex-PEM Sniper rifle. To any guys out there that are just now starting their military surplus collections, I definitely wouldn't discount looking into getting a Mosin Nagant. Ammo is still out there and readily available in both non-corrosive and corrosive milsurp options. Stock your gun shows, stock your pawn shops. If you can find one for sub $400 or even sub $500, I guess, it wouldn't be a bad choice. It's a vibe. You know, it hits like a fucking freight train whenever you shoot a still target with it. It's very, very satisfying. I think I'm going to start doing more and more milsurp-centric content on the channel. I think I have more milsurp firearms than anything else. And I've always enjoyed talking about history. And whenever it comes to Mosin Nagants, the sky's the fucking limit. I've got tons of them with cool history all around. So hopefully you enjoyed this little video. And pretty soon, I have a plan to put this rifle and another 9130 that I have up against one another in a little accuracy test. I've spent the last couple months collecting different, grain weights and types of 54R ammunition, both corrosive and non-corrosive, commercial ammo and milsurp ammo. And I'm thinking that it might be an interesting accuracy test to compare this Ex-PEM Sniper versus a standard Tula infantry rifle that I have. So yeah, in the next couple of weeks or maybe a month or so, be on the lookout for that little accuracy test. But until then, this has been the Syntex Strellock, signing off.